Okay, so this next category is separating work and home life, right? Slash home life, what people have, what's your ritual at home, and workplace boundaries. So this one's a big one, but a lot of it some people kind of put them very close together. It was a little tough to separate. Take my lunch religiously and use that time for physical exercise, either a run or a walk. So this is one of those ones that bleed into each other, right? Separate my work and life as much as possible. Not taking anything home each day. Using the last few minutes of each day to prepare for the next day. Not working on the weekend except when absolutely necessary to meet deadlines. I try to be kind and patient with myself. Strive for work-life balance by not working more than you're compensated for. Don't give away your time, expertise, or knowledge unless you are deciding to donate. Education is one of the only professional fields where it is routinely expected that educators will give away their time for free. Use your annual leave. It is a benefit and should be allowed to be used throughout the year. Use your sick leave, especially if you need a mental health day. Same reason as annual leave. Discuss openly and honestly with coworkers and supervisors so that the intention is set to treat workers with respect and allow for people to have lives outside of work. Do not engage in work outside of agreed upon work hours. This means not taking calls or emails before or after regular work hours, unless there is an exception, and these exceptions should be rare and far between. Learning to say no to unreasonable requests and things that would entail overextension. Confront exploitation at work to set reasonable boundaries, as not doing so will engender resentment and lowered workplace morale. Don't be afraid to let things go if it is toxic, making you unhappy or unsatisfied or is unproductive. Do not overextend yourself or promise more than you can reasonably deliver, because it gives a false impression of how much one can reasonably produce and sets a precedent for oneself and coworkers that overworking is a normal thing that higher-ups can demand. Take any advantage of any employer health benefits, example, fitness programs that allow use of work time to exercise. Maintain a clean and organized office and desktop. Ask for help when it is needed. Prioritize tasks that need to be done first right away versus things that can be done at a later time.
Boy, can I just say that there's so much that I can say about all of this, being that I've been in adult ed for about 18 years, which is even less than a lot of people that are still currently in adult ed. It took so long for me to put myself in that mental place where I didn't feel obligated to be on 24/7, on call, being willing to work nights, weekends, just to get it done. My excuse was, well, it has to be done. It has to get done. And I even remember at one point my parents being very proud of me for that fact, being very proud that I was willing to just do what it took to get everything done. And I am really appreciative of this new mindset. And it's not even that new, but it's gaining in widespread belief and popularity that there needs to be that separation of work and home life, that it's okay to say no to working overtime, to working on weekends and nights, and to actually take the time to be ill when you're ill. You know, that bullet about the mental health days, I think, is something very important to keep in mind as well, is that sometimes we do need that, and we don't need to have to explain it or justify it, that we sometimes just need that. And I can tell you there was a big period in my life where my wife and kids didn't see me a lot because I was just working, even at home. I just had to get stuff done. And it makes me a little sad that that became part of the routine, that became part of the norm. And I've been working very hard, especially over the last, I would say 5 years or so, to change that, to realize that my time has value. My work time has value, and it has a particular limit. And then my home life has value, and that there are people on both ends of those that need my time and want my time and deserve my time. And they deserve me present for both of those. And so really, these were so excellent. I really loved reading these because really, I can't emphasize this enough. We all need this. We all need this. It's very important. Otherwise, we get ill every time there's an extended break. I remember, like I said earlier, being sick the first day of winter break and being sick all the way past New Year's because my body just finally had the opportunity to relax. And so it forced me to.
Your body's like, I'm going to let these viruses in, and Jamie will not let me rest.
Yes. Yes. That has happened more than once, and it shouldn't. It really shouldn't.
Yeah. And I think, a general theme that I'm seeing in this is really like understanding yourself and your limits. So that, because even before you can say like overextending yourself, first you have to ask, what does overextending yourself mean? What does that look like for you? It's going to look different for everybody.
Yes.
And like having those workplace boundaries are just so important. Just being able to say to your supervisor, your coworkers, I need this time. And, not everyone always feels comfortable with that. I know, and asking for help, that was a big one, asking for help. That actually really stuck out to me because sometimes I get in this mode where I feel like I'm supposed to know things because I'm a professional. I'm also at the level, I'm a professional. My official title is a professional learning coordinator. So I'm supposed to be, at this point in my career, but really thinking about what does that mean? And that doesn't necessarily mean I have all the answers or I'm supposed to solve every problem on my own, but being able to go to my coworkers, to my supervisor, and just be like, I need help with this thing.
Right.
I need some support. I'm having difficulty with blank, and it takes a lot. And that it's hard to be vulnerable in that way. But sometimes you just need it.
Yes.
And one thing I would say about all these too with workplace, and I had to put myself in a very vulnerable position. In a previous episode, I talked about being autistic. And one of the things of knowing myself is, first of all, getting that diagnosis, really reflecting on how my body and my brain responds to situations, and then being able to ask for help. And one of the hardest things I had to do professionally was tell my coworkers, like, I'm physically ill because I'm so anxious. I'm so anxious because I'm on the spectrum. And I know that there was a time where that wasn't available for a lot of people. And there are some instances where you don't have that, you're able to be that vulnerable. But I'm very lucky to be in a position and be a part of a team that was very understanding in that. And just like, okay, what do you need? Like, that was really more of the reaction, was like, what do you need? And how can we support you?
And along that vein, one of the bullets mentioned, if the work relationship is toxic, it's okay to let it go. And so in that respect, it is important to have a team that is going to be understanding and supportive and understanding to a point where they're trying to help, and if that doesn't happen, it's okay to look at your options. That's not always possible, but it is good. It's healthy.
Absolutely. Okay, and then we have our final category, hobbies/social. Jamie, do you want to take it away?
Yes. Okay, so the first two bullets, of course, are reading. One person even said, I enjoy reading devotions that I can relate to and can help me process my day. Music. Listening to music temporarily helps my mind escape from reality. Communication. I express my emotions and feelings with my spouse when something is upsetting me or causing stress. This helps me process my feelings while also receiving consolation. Saying no. To me, this is a big one. It's okay to say no to people. Learn to focus on yourself and make decisions for yourself. Pets. And in this person's case, they're cats. My cats always make me smile. Animals relieve my stress and give me a sense of comfort and always lighten my mood. Find a person you are comfortable with for venting and ranting, and watch a movie after. It's refreshing to get things off of your chest with someone you trust, and then you have quality time after. Lay down on your floor. This person said, I know this sounds weird, but it works. I feel better after laying on the floor after a crying session or bad day. And finally, affirmation cards. This person has some silly little cards. That's what they said. Silly little cards that give me a pick-me-up if I'm feeling a little blue. And so they actually did also provide a link that we will have in our podcast episode notes for you.
Oh, I love that little affirmation card thing, because I didn't realize that was, I thought of that as self-care, because it is. But I have two that is right in front of my desk. So one is an affirmation card intentionally. It's a picture of this really cute little purple dragon who's sleeping on a toadstool like a mushroom. And the caption says, "The amount of recharge time you need is entirely reasonable."
I love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The second one is handwritten by me. So actually, this was in a dedication in a book, and I just had to grab it and write it on a postcard I had. And it's by William Gibson, and it's about writing. And he wrote this to the author of the book I read, and the author thought it was important enough to keep in their book. "You must learn to overcome your very natural and appropriate revulsion for your own work." You have no idea what that means to me. Because I don't know. I wonder if anyone else has that little voice in your head that when you're writing, like, this sucks. This sucks.
Yes.
I hate this. Oh my goodness, I hate it. I don't want to do this. Especially since writing isn't really my strong suit. So like, just reading that is just like, you know what? Get it on the page. We can fix it later. It's not important right now. I'm not being graded. This is just, it's okay. Those are the two that I keep on my desk. All right. So just because this is the hobbies/social category, do you have one hobby that you'd like to share?
For me, that's dancing. I really do love to dance. I have danced since I was 7 in competitive situations like dance team in high school or even in middle school dance teams. I've taken dance classes like flamenco. And now at this point in my life, I'm 41, and so I don't dance regularly. I don't have the flexibility I used to, but I give myself that opportunity to dance when I'm alone in my house. Whenever I get that opportunity, I will go to dance clubs, and my wife and I will actually go and go to Latin nights, and we'll dance together. We dance very well together, and so that is just something that we really love doing together, and I really love doing alone. I love to dance.
That sounds a little bit of a brag too. You're like, well, me and my wife are great dancers.
We actually are. So I will brag about that. It's not bragging if it's true.
Okay, fair. You're right. One of my hobbies that I absolutely love is just watching movies. I went to film school. It's still like a big part of my life. I really think of either going to the movies or watching them at home. I love both. They're just very different experiences. I don't take them the same way. I consider watching a movie movie is a form of art, and I take it like watching a movie, whether you're home or in the theater, as like going to an exhibit, going to a gallery. So for me, it's like taking it all in and just letting it sort of wash over me. And I'm very particular. I have very specific taste, but just feeling better. Before Thanksgiving, I went to go see a movie. It's from the 80s. It's called Babette's Feast, and it's this like kind of simple movie about a woman that moves to this very small, remote Danish village, and she makes them an elaborate French feast. And it's just so heartwarming and funny. And the food that she makes is gorgeous. Like, that's like a subcategory of film is like food movies. And like the food is the art.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just such an experience. And, that kind of I went to that like the day before Thanksgiving. So it was like, worked all day, went to the movies, and then had Thanksgiving weekend. And I think that was like just a great way to like end the work week and start a holiday.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to mention a couple of other things here with reading and music. I think that those types of things are really great releases as well. Just like you talked about with movies, which I also enjoy very much. I love going to the movie theater, just love it. Reading a book gives you that escape as well. It's a little bit longer than watching a movie, but it's, very enjoyable. I really, love letting my imagination run wild. And I think as adults, sometimes we forget to do that, just letting ourselves be imaginative.
Oh, yeah.
I love having that opportunity when I can.
So do you prefer to read fiction, nonfiction, both?
It depends on my mood. I tend to read fiction more than nonfiction, but I've read both and I enjoy both. Absolutely.
Yeah, same. Mm-hmm. I keep. Do you use Goodreads?
I have used Goodreads just to get some suggestions and figure out,
Oh, do you do the reading challenge?
I do not. No.
I do the reading challenge. So Goodreads is a website that's owned by Amazon, because Amazon owns 80% of what we do.
Absolutely.
And there's a reading challenge where you just set a number of books you're going to read, and it keeps track for you.
Oh, cool.
That's all it does. It's very simple. It's basically like gamifying reading.
Yes, it is.
So I've been doing this for years, and I've noticed that like when I worked really like customer service, kind of like not great jobs for my brain, I read so much, because I also love reading. It's a passion of mine. But then as my career kind of went up, my reading went down.
That's natural.
I think this year I'm up to like 22 books or something. And when I was in customer service, I would read like 50 books a year.
Yeah.
And that's like, so much. And of course, I don't count all the work reading I have to do, unless it's a whole book. Like, I can't put a white paper or like this research article on,
That's not
differentiation. Does not count on Goodreads reading.
No.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say that was the end of our tips. Thank you so much, listeners, for sharing. And please feel free to share these tips with other people.
Yes.
Our work isn't just the work. It's also what goes on around it.
Absolutely. And, what we do makes such a difference. It's a very social thing to do. And I know that many of you have probably heard this term. It's very hard to be of service to others when you don't fill your own well. If your well is empty, you have nothing to give.
Well, that's why you put the oxygen mask on the kid first, and then yourself first. Then
there you go.
Okay, yeah, sorry, I reversed it. Yeah, because like you can't, if your plane is an emergency, you can't save your kid if you don't save yourself first, right? And you do others a disservice if you don't take care of yourself, including yourself. So you're really disappointing everybody.
And so just remember, you are a very necessary person. You're doing a very necessary thing. And so be kind to that person who is doing that very necessary thing. I can't stress that enough. I have to do it too all the time. So
it really is it's a work. Self-care is a work in progress. So please keep up the work. Keep taking care of yourselves. Take care of others. And I think that's a good place to end.
Yeah.
So Jamie, thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Nadia. I really enjoyed this.
Yes. All right.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.